the Super Nintendo. One of the best consoles ever made. Had a lot of the best games of all time on it. Today we're going to be doing our top 10 Super Nintendo games. But we get pretty excited about the Super Nintendo, so we talked quite a bit about each entry. So we're going to split it up into two videos. In this episode, we're going to be doing 10 through 6.
Alright, coming in at number 10, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Such a great game. Just took like everything that was good about the old NES, like the arcade game Turtles 2, and just jumped it up to the next level.
Yeah, it's arguably the best beat 'em up ever made, and hasn't been matched or remade to the same caliber since.
No, that remake was trash.
It wasn't as good, but no, Turtles in Time is just, oh god, it was so great. And in my opinion, the console one was better than the arcade version because it didn't change too much. It changed like the prehistoric Turtlesaurus from like a blob of primordial ooze into just a caveman Leo. And I thought that was a way better fight than just like a mud monster.
This is the first game on this list that did what the Super Nintendo did best. It took everything the NES did and just amped it up to 11. Everything's better with the playing with superpower.
And everything's better with time travel.
Everything's better with time travel.
Pretty much.
Most things.
I mean, the plot is kind of stupid. Honestly, like, why did Krang steal the Statue of Liberty, and why did the
Because
Turtles...
it's hilarious.
I mean, I don't remember the plot too well.
That
but
is the plot.
I can't remember why the Turtles had to go back in time. I don't know, did they get sent back in time?
He just comes up
yeah,
and just like...
Shredder sends them back in time so he can't interfere with their plans, and then they somehow jump forward in time?
Yeah, I'm
Every time they commit
level.
certain tasks. Yeah.
not really sure on that one either.
But
It's the Super Nintendo. It didn't matter. It was awesome.
didn't matter at all, because you got to fight pirates and stuff.
Yeah, Leatherhead was a pirate.
Leatherhead.
No, he wasn't a pirate. He was a train bum.
Oh, yeah.
Bebop and Rocksteady were pirates.
Yeah, that's right. And,
You could throw foot soldiers into the screen.
Yes.
The fight with Krang in that game, where he's like massive and in the background, if I'm remembering
In the
right.
future.
Yeah, in the future. And then
Because you're on the little like hover discs.
Then you fight Shredder, and then freaking Super Shredder.
Super Shredder
Super Shredder was
could
amazing.
one hit kill you with like several of his attacks.
Yeah, Super
He
Shredder.
would always say that he wants to dine on turtle soup, and that was his catchphrase.
And he didn't have the advantage of him knocking a dock onto himself.
Yeah, like the movies. But he did have his like devolution ray, and he would just turn you into a regular turtle.
Yeah, so Turtles in Time is fantastic. In my opinion, the best beat 'em up ever made.
This game completely took everybody by surprise. Mario, up until this point, was just the plumber in red that stomped on turtles. And then Squaresoft at the time took him and just made him into an RPG, and it was one of the best games of all time, and has not been recreated with the same oomph as it had back then, in my opinion. It was a great turn-based RPG, but also wasn't just select attack and then wait to attack, because you would have to time your jumps to get a good attack bonus, or it would time your defenses to block the attacks and such. It was just a great game, had some of the best characters that were never seen again, and honestly a dumb plot, but you know, what RPG doesn't have a dumb plot to some degree.
Yeah, Gino. I'm gonna miss Gino and Mallow, and I think Square still owns the rights to them, and that's why they've never popped up again.
Probably.
That makes sense.
For an outside developer to come in and capture all the charm of the Mario universe, but being a completely different genre, was incredible. It was so well done.
Yeah, and just for some reason it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
You wouldn't think on paper that it would.
On paper, it sounds really dumb, but it was so good. And the
You got Bowser in your team.
yes,
It was
and
one of the
Peach.
few times Mario and Bowser legitimately teamed up. And it was, even if you take Mario out of it, it was a great RPG because there were so many different weapon variations for each character. Like, it wasn't just a sword character and all they can do is sword. It was like Bowser had claws, and one of his weapons was called a throwing glove, and he would just take Mario and hurl him at the enemies.
and he had Chain Chomp.
And he had Chain Chomp. It had a lot
They all
of
had 3 classes. Right?
variations of weapons, and it just worked so great.
This one really shouldn't have worked either. Speaking of things that shouldn't work, Kirby Superstar, at just being a complete like compilation of mini games basically, but they all had like a plot that I can't remember what it was called. You unlocked the deal at the end where you fight in space.
Yeah,
you had
Milky
to-
Way Wishes.
Milky Way Wishes, but you had to beat everything before you got to that, and the stories were
It's-
slightly interconnected.
The term mini game is used in a completely different context for this game because it's literally like several miniature games, not just like party fun games. It's level-based mini games. Like, you have to progress through Saving Dreamland and the Dynablade saga and what's the Egyptian one?
The Great Cave Offensive.
Great Cave
Great Cave
Offensive.
You find the Triforce.
Wasn't Gourmet Race in there?
That was an actual like mini game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had mini games too, but
That and like Quick Draw
And the World Puncher.
The World Puncher. That's what I was thinking. of.
Yeah.
You cracked Popstar in half if you did good enough.
the Ninja one, the Quick Draw Ninja one was pretty cool.
Yeah. Also, it gave us co-op in a Kirby game, and the best co-op in any Kirby game to date.
Some of the best co-op ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because your partner, you would just like, if you were Kirby, you could eat a power, and then you would basically just like burst
A good
a
version.
good version of what
ate.
you just ate. Like, you would have like the bad Sir Kibble, and you would eat him, and then it'd come out as your good Sir Kibble, and he would be thrown around as cutters and everything. And then if the player 2 was unsatisfied with this, they could self-destruct themselves and then just run into whatever enemy power they wanted.
But what I liked is that every little story sequence was almost a different genre.
Yeah,
Like
it
Dyna-
was.
The first one with Dynablade, where I think Dynablade was the final battle,
Yes.
and that was pretty much a Kirby game. You know, it was just fun times. And then the Meta Knight one was an action movie.
Yeah, it really was.
You're constantly moving, constantly fighting, and like the little cutscenes where Meta Knight and his minions are just terrified of Kirby.
Yeah.
Was fantastic.
Well, I mean, case in point, the final level is you escaping the exploding halberd on your wheel,
yes.
and it's just like legitimately action movie. And then Kirby like ramps off into the sunset, and
The Milky Way Wishes is like an action movie, a sci-fi action movie.
yeah.
And
Great Cave Offensive is a explorative type game where you have to find these tiny chests and find all the treasures.
And it took so long to find all
Yes.
of them.
They had relics from a lot of Nintendo games. That was a pretty cool
Yeah.
touch.
And this is far and away the most fun I have ever had babysitting, and the best escort mission ever, Yoshi's Island. It was one of the best ways for Yoshi to spin off that could have possibly happened. It was just a Mario in the Mario universe, but not necessarily a Mario game, because there were a lot of enemies you couldn't just step on. Like, you had to eat them and, make eggs as Yoshi, and it started his whole egg throwing thing. It was just an amazing game and prequel for the Mario series as a whole.
Yeah, yeah, got an origin story for Mario and Luigi.
Yeah.
I mean, as simple as it can be, but
Yeah.
still nice to have an origin. He's officially not flushed down the toilet from Brooklyn or whatever anymore.
Yeah.
I don't remember if that was just the movie or the cartoon did it too.
Yeah, that was the cartoon also.
So they gave Mario an official canon origin. So
And you weren't saving Princess Peach either. You were saving Luigi.
Yeah. And
Kamek.
Mario,
Yeah.
if Mario had not been there, that game would have gone a whole lot more smoothly, actually.
It really
Yeah.
would have, because Mario. I mean, it's cool that you don't have health, but at the same time, when you get hit, Mario starts crying, and then it starts like grinding on your nerves.
Good lord. Like, that's... If it weren't for the game over, I wouldn't have saved him, unless he was crying. Like, I could have muted the TV and just let him float, but then
Yeah.
I'd get a game over. Yeah.
And some of the best bosses.
Easily,
Good
like
Remember, we couldn't figure out how to hurt that piranha plant?
the piranha plant
Yeah.
is one of the still pretty terrifying as
Yeah.
far as
Oh
the
yeah,
boss
that
goes.
The
music kicks in, and
It's got that awesome music, and he just starts like slowly rising out of the water.
Like the Kraken.
And then you fight that raven on the moon. You fight the big Koopa, and it's just a lot of great bosses. I mean, the pot ghost is kind of but he's an earlier boss, so
Yeah.
it's to be expected.
I think he's a mid boss too.
Then you
But
fight
I can't remember.
Godzilla-sized baby Bowser right
Yes,
at the end.
that's the best because you fight Bowser normal, and he keeps like ground pounding on your back because he wants to ride the green donkey, as he put it. And he keeps knocking Mario off. He's ground pounding, sending waves throughout, and then you beat him. And then Kamek just dumps all her magic into him. He
Like
grows
everything she had.
literally the size of his castle and is just charging at you from the background. And it completely changes the way the game is played for the final battle, which normally does not work. But for this, it worked beautifully.
And the heavy metal music at the end.
It's playing the awesome music. You have to get the huge eggs and just pop them in the mouth.
And he just gradually gets closer and closer, so you get more nervous. And
Fantastic. So fun. That might be our most played Super Nintendo game.
It's definitely up
Collectively,
there.
At least.
that's probably one of my, or in my top 5, like final bosses too.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's easily
That was just fun.
a great, like the best way that game could have ended was with gigantic Baby Bowser.
Now, what can I say about this one that hasn't already been said? It's such a great game, Mega Man X.
Yeah.
Like, it did the same thing as what we were talking about with Turtles in Time. It just took what worked on the NES and just cranked it up to a whole different level. Even though most people thought it was Mega Man 10.
Yeah,
But-
we did.
Had a
Yeah.
kind of a legitimate story, not just...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's only compared to the originals where it was just, Dr. Wily's bad, go get him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, this one was kind of complex. Like, wasn't Sigma being bad a plot twist? I can't remember. I know he was good at first. I don't remember if they mentioned
I think
that
he
too
was
much.
good in the, like, intro or something.
I think so, but yeah, I know it's X has to go find the Mavericks because he's Maverick Hunter X and just stop them because they're terrorizing the Reploids. And it's
And the Mavericks are so cool in that game. Like, all of them are good.
yeah, all the bosses are great. They stopped being men and are now animals, and it couldn't have worked out better. Because Chill Penguin, you may laugh at him because he's the easiest, but he is one of the best and most memorable bosses. Spark Mandrill is awesome. Boomerang Kawanger,
It's not an animal, is it?
it's a beetle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Storm Eagle.
Storm Eagle.
He had very heroic sounding music, as I remember, but...
But all that aside, the absolute best possible thing about Mega Man X is that Dr. Light is literally the smartest thing ever conceived and saw this coming 1,000 years prior and built Mega Man armor upgrades so he could get decked out and just like unleash hell on the Mavericks because you get the boots, so you can dash. You get the armor, which I think just
Better defense.
gives you
Yeah, I
better
think
defense.
it's defense.
The headpiece gives you
Breaking bricks.
less ammo.
Yeah, you can break bricks, and I think it has like an item finder or something in it.
That's what it is. Yeah, and then you get the Buster upgrade, and you can charge up the enemy attacks, and it's just glorious.
The
Yeah,
first time I figured that out, like, that was so awesome.
They went straight like Metroid with it too, just finding all these different power ups and hard
Energy
tanks,
tanks,
and
hard
energy
tanks.
and- yeah, that game was just so great. It's probably my favorite Mega Man game of all time.
Not to mention that you can get a hidden Hadouken
Yeah.
in the game.
Yes, and it introduced Zero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zero.
He was Proto Man
Which-
this time.
I know the original version of that game was just Zero. And then Capcom was like, no, we need something blue and more recognizable.
And
So
X was born.
Inafune, he was just like, alright, well, I'm going to give Zero all the cool scenes.
It was like Rex, what's his name? Vile
Yeah.
in one shot. Oh, that game was so fun.